Have you ever seen a gaming news video blended in with a rant video? I don't know if I've ever combined these two genres before, but that's what we're going to do this morning on the channel. We got some interesting gaming news this morning, including Shenmue III getting a delay, and why I think this is actually a pretty big deal. And then there's something I want to bitch about when it comes to Nintendo, because something popped up on my Twitter timeline that reminded me of a program that Nintendo does that absolutely sucks. It absolutely sucks, and nobody seems to talk about this because I think everyone forgot about it. So that's what we're going to cover in today's video. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about Shenmue 3's delay and why I'm kind of mad at Nintendo.
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my god, it's Stevie Richards! Shenmue 3, of course, was a massive crowd-funded game that is coming to us from Yu Suzuki, the original creator of the Shenmue series. Me personally, I always loved Shenmue. I remember playing Shenmue for the first time on the Dreamcast, and I was just absolutely blown away by this game. How everyone had their own lives, and people would do their own different time cycles, and the whole time cycle in the game, with businesses revolving around this time cycle in this 3D sandbox world. It was just absolutely incredible. We had never seen anything like it before at the time. And of course, Shenmue was a very, very high budget game, and unfortunately the sales of the game didn't quite translate into what Sega had hoped for, and it didn't really meet that budget that they set for the game in order to get these sales for the game. And then of course you had Shenmue 2, but that was when Sega was going through sort of a transition period, going from the hardware side of gaming into the software side of gaming. It released in Europe and Japan for the Dreamcast, and then it released on the original Xbox, and then that was it for Shenmue. We hadn't heard a lot about Shenmue since then, but then Shenmue 3 popped up on crowdfunding and everyone got excited again, myself included. I love Shenmue. I think it's a fantastic series. Of course, recently we had the Shenmue 1 and 2 HD versions come out for the PS4 and the Xbox One and PC. I really enjoyed it, but those games didn't really sell all that well. And I know I keep talking about sales with Shenmue, but I think it ties into the overall narrative of this thing, because Shenmue 3 is now being delayed once again. It's still coming out in 2019, but the game was originally supposed to come out in August of 2019. Now the game has been delayed until November of 2019. And I know what you're saying to yourself, well, you know, that's not a huge deal. And according to Yu Suzuki and the team at Deep Silver, it's basically just to add additional polish to the game. And I know you're going to throw up that Miyamoto quote, a bad game is bad forever, a delayed game can end up being good, which isn't correct. I mean, how many games have been delayed that still ended up being bad? Duke Nukem Forever, anyone? Like, that was not a good game. But regardless, it's not the delay that bothers me, it's the timing of the delay. A lot of people were expecting this game to come out in August, and we are now in June, and August is nearly 2 months away. And I think Shenmue 3 would have had a better chance if it released in August, because where's the competition? There's not a whole lot of big games coming out in the month of August so far. November, you got to deal with so much crazy stuff though. You got to imagine the upcoming Call of Duty game will more than likely launch in November. The upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield game is probably another November release. Shenmue itself is a niche series, and that pains me to say it because I think Shenmue is fantastic, but it's niche. There's not a lot of people that are still into the Shenmue universe, and I feel like this game is just doomed to have low sales figures now, especially considering it's coming out in November with so much heavy competition. Every year you see companies releasing games in the second half of the year, and they bomb. They're big games. They're games that should do well. Games like Wolfenstein 2, games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider. These games were great games. They should have done well, but they didn't sell well at all. So that's because of the heavy competition going into the holiday season. So I don't know. I just hope that Shenmue 3 ends up being a fantastic game. I know I'm going to enjoy it, and probably a lot of the people who backed this game via crowdfunding are going to enjoy it. But as far as the commercial success, as far as the mass appeal, as far as this game potentially spurning on another Shenmue game, I just don't really have high hopes for it now, since it's releasing in November of this year as opposed to August. It had a fighting chance in August. In November, I just feel like it's going to fly under the radar, but maybe I'm wrong. So let me know what you think of the Shenmue delay in the comment section down below. Sticking with crowdfunding games, we had a popular series pop up this morning on Kickstarter, and I'm kind of confused about this whole thing because the campaign is really strange to me. The game in question is R-Type Final 2. Now, R-Type, of course, is a very popular shoot-'em-up franchise that has been around for quite a while now. There have been a million different R-Type games that have come out. They've been re-released, they've been put on handhelds. Everything pretty much has an R-Type on it in some way, shape, or form. So I like the R-Type series. I've always thought it was good. But R-Type Final 2 is a game game that's been in development for a while, and then they said they were going to do some crowdfunding. And now the Kickstarter popped up this morning, and I just don't get it. First and foremost, when you do a Kickstarter, let's talk about the length of the Kickstarter. Most of these Kickstarters are what? Usually at least a month long, right? Some are even 2 months long. This Kickstarter is 7 days. 7 days. Like, I don't get why you're only doing 7 days. And the amount that they want for the Kickstarter is actually quite a lot. It's roughly $416,000. Now, at the time of the filming of this video, they are at $103,000. So they are about a quarter of the way there. But really, when you look at Kickstarters, usually the first few days and then the last few days are when the money really starts to come in. But I feel like a game like R-Type really needs an elongated sort of thing, especially if you're trying to raise these funds. And what's really strange to me is there's a lot of stretch goals in here as well. So some of the stretch goals include like 500,000, 600,000, $1 million, $2 million to replicate and reproduce the original stage 1 from R-Type with the latest technology as an additional stage. 3 million, 3.5 million. Like, these are very lofty expectations. And if you were doing it for an elongated period of time, a month or two, maybe you would come close to these goals. But to only do it for 7 days, like, I don't know, man. Something just doesn't seem quite right with me about this game. I think the game itself looks absolutely fantastic. From the screenshots that they've showed, it does look very beautiful. They're obviously using widescreen resolution to their full capabilities and making a very impressive looking game, but just something about this Kickstarter just does not sit right with me. The fact that it's so short, but they're still hoping and expecting to potentially get $2 to $3 million in order to fund this game. Like, how far along is the game? Do you really need this crowdfunding? Is it a sort of pre-order program for this game? I don't know. There's just something a bit off about this. So let me know in the comment section down below if you plan on pledging to the R-Type Final 2 Kickstarter. Me personally, I'm probably not gonna. I'll just check it out when it releases. It is scheduled to release on the PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. And finally, let's get into the rant portion of this video, because something popped up this morning on my Twitter feed and I was looking at it and I was like, you know what? I was just talking about this with some friends a few days ago and I was really bothered by this. And now that it's thrown into my face again, I think it's time to talk about it. Do you remember My Nintendo Rewards? A lot of people probably don't, especially if you just got a Nintendo Switch and you did not pick up a Wii U. But I'm someone who owned a Wii U. I also owned a 3DS and I personally enjoyed My Nintendo Rewards. Now, My Nintendo Rewards was basically sort of a loyalty program for Nintendo Wii U and 3DS owners. You can get different types of coins, both platinum and gold coins, by doing different things, either by signing into your My Nintendo account, by doing little surveys, by by purchasing certain games that would give you additional coins. And you could translate these coins into things such as discounts on Nintendo Wii U and Nintendo 3DS games. And honestly, there were some pretty good discounts and they were pretty high tier games. It wasn't just, you know, shovelware games or anything like that. Most of these were like first party Nintendo games. So it was sort of an incentive to do things like download different Nintendo mobile apps. You could earn points by playing Nintendo mobile games as well. It was a nice little system. But when the Nintendo Switch came out, I was kind of sitting here wondering, okay, when are they going to incorporate the Nintendo Switch into this? And then time just kind of went on and they never did. And still, now, to this date, over 2 years later, since the Nintendo Switch has released, they have not incorporated Nintendo Switch stuff into this program. And this morning, they updated the My Nintendo Rewards stuff, and I'm looking at the rewards and I'm like, these are good rewards. Why is this program not available with the Nintendo Switch? So looking at the newly listed awards, you can get 30% off Bravely Second and Layer with 90 gold points. For Earthbound, the original on Super Nintendo, you could get 40% off with 200 platinum points. You could get Miitopia on the 3DS for 30% off with 90 gold coins. You could get 20% off The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild with 300 platinum points on the Wii U. You can get Pokemon Rumble Blast on the 3DS for 30% off with 210 platinum points. Sushi Striker on the 3DS, you can get 20% off with 60 gold points. You can get 30% off Pokemon Battle Troze on the 3DS with 120 platinum points, and Pushmo World for 200 platinum points. You can get 40% off. You can also get some additional 3DS themes. Remember, themes, those never came to the Nintendo Switch. And then you can get some weird Father's Day Super Mario Maker 2 printable booklets. Like, that's what you're giving Nintendo Switch owners? And I just don't understand this. If I look at my account right now, I have so many different platinum and gold coins literally just sitting there because they never incorporated this program into the Nintendo Switch. And my question is, why? Does Nintendo not realize that there is a console called the Nintendo Switch out there? Does Nintendo not realize that probably a lot of people, such as myself, have a lot of coins built up and they're literally just sitting there because we did things like sign into our My Nintendo account on desktop or on mobile, or played games like Super Mario Run in order to get more coins in hopes that we would be able to transition these coins into Nintendo Switch games. Granted, I own a lot of Nintendo Switch games, but I might be sort of persuaded into buying a game that I'm maybe not super interested in. A game like ARMS or something. I do not own ARMS. I never picked up ARMS. I didn't really care for the demo, but I feel like if I had an incentive, a discount with coins that I already have just sitting there from doing previous things with Nintendo, I might actually look into ARMS if it was 30% off or 40% off. But no, you never incorporated the Nintendo Switch into this. And it's just like, why? I do not understand why Nintendo is just so far behind when it comes to things like online programs and reward programs. You used to have it pretty decent on the Wii U. If you bought digital games, you had the Digital Deluxe program where you could get more digital games at a substantial discount, and it was a nice program. But it's like Nintendo goes 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. They don't quite know what to do with online stuff, and you're seeing this with things like Super Mario Maker 2. So I want to start a crusade. My Nintendo Rewards needs to be revamped or gotten rid of, because at this point, it's just silly. You're not supporting your main system. The Wii U has been dead for 2+ years now. The 3DS has nothing coming out in 2019. Add Nintendo Switch to the program. It's really not that hard. Alright, so that is what's going on in the world of gaming for this morning, and my little rant about my Nintendo Rewards just sucking. It sucks. It sucks! So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of these things. Are you still excited for Shenmue 3? Do you think the delay will hurt this game? What do you think of the R-Type Final 2 Kickstarter? Are you kind of questioning why they're only running for 7 days and hoping to get $3 million? Because I sure as hell am. And of course, let me know what you think of my Nintendo Rewards. Do you feel like Nintendo is ever going to revamp this and include things like Nintendo Switch games or Nintendo Switch related things? Or is it always just going to be designed to sort of supplement the Wii U and the 3DS, even though Nintendo themselves isn't supplementing those systems? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.